Yo, does Jake Paul stand a chance against former unified heavyweight champion of the world 8 days away from now? Live on Netflix against Anthony Joshua? Does Jake Paul have a chance after watching the little video that he just posted this morning of him hitting the heavy bag? Does anybody out there get a little bit more hope from seeing that? There's a couple things that I want to talk about when it comes to this viral video of Jake Paul, early glimpse of him hitting the heavy bag, and you know, the shape that he's in. And I want to talk about the pros and the cons. The good things that I feel from watching this video and watching him, and also the bad things that he's doing technically hitting the heavy bag, all right? I want to start with the bad things first. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that will point out a lot of different things, but some of the main things that I want to point out is every single time Jake Paul threw a jab in the orthodox position, his right hand tends to fall down a little bit. Rather than staying locked in, it's almost like he's throwing these power jabs every time that it's making him drop his right hand, which is understandable, knowing, you know, how long Jake Paul has been doing this, knowing how excited he is for this fight, right? You see him do this and you think to yourself, he's definitely open to be countered even when he's throwing his jab, okay? Now, that's not the only thing that I've seen. But what about when Jake Paul's in the orthodox position, right? He has his left hand up and he throws a right hook to the body. Boom. And a right uppercut. Boom. He tends to actually not involve his body as much as you should, and he's using more of his arm and leaving himself really open for, in what I would say, if you're standing in the orthodox position, he's open right there for a check left hook. Boom. Right there, check left hook. Boom. Every single time Jake Paul is going to throw a right hand, because he tends to leave himself really open than he normally should when he throws those right hooks to the bodies, right uppercuts, okay? Now, if you're in the southpaw position, the same exact thing, right? You got your right hand up, you got your left hook, you got your left hand cocked right here, and you see Jake Paul going, boom, right there, boom, counter left hook. There's a lot of things that you can see with Jake Paul showing us this little glimpse that Anthony Joshua, at his high level and his, you know, his high level, will be able to take advantage of. Now, one more thing that I see Jake Paul doing wrong is when he's finishing his combo, he tends to stare at the floor. It looks like his chin is tucked in, which he's doing really well. But when you see his head, he looks like he's actually looking at the floor while he's throwing these jabs, which means he's not entirely focused and not seasoned enough to where you see absolute perfection from every single thing. As he's finishing the combo, he's putting his head down. He's not even looking at his opponent. Now, trust me, this is all understandable, you know, being that it's Jake Paul. We see some of the mistakes he's making, but let's talk about some of the pros that I see from Jake Paul doing this. Now, look it. I wouldn't go as far as saying Anthony Joshua is, you know, very chinny, but we have seen him been knocked out before, right? This dude can get rocked if he gets hit with a big left hook or a big right hook. It is possible, bro. Jake Paul looks fast, okay? His feet look faster than Anthony Joshua's feet. I'm not gonna lie. Jake Paul's feet are looking quick. He's taking little steps. It's looking great, okay? And when he does throw that right hook, that right hand overhand, boom, it actually does land with a lot of authority, okay? When he fought against Mike Tyson, he came in at 227 pounds. So I would think he should be around that weight or even heavier when he fights against Anthony Joshua. Maybe he might be lighter. Maybe that's why he looks fast as hell. You can see at moments when he throws his right hand, sometimes technically he's great. You can see right here in this picture, he's throwing a straight right hand. Boom. It looks like he still has his left hand up. His elbows right there tight with his chin. His chin is tucked. But you can see his body is really open to be countered, right? Now, of course, there's going to be counters for everything. Anthony Joshua will be able to read this, and he will be able to see this video and recognize in his head that he knows Jake Paul makes these mistakes. So when he takes it to the ring, he will be capitalizing on these counters. But that being said, if Jake Paul can land one of those right hands, right, get enough momentum and enough torque in his body and just clock him, boom, and wobble Anthony Joshua before Anthony Joshua is able to let off any combos on Jake Paul, and for some reason pull off a miracle, he can absolutely hurt Anthony Joshua. He can hurt him. There's no doubt about it. If he lands his shot, he can. But the question is, will he? Will he be fighting with authority? Will he be putting momentum in his shots? Will he be fighting on the back foot, right? Will he be actually taken away from his own power so he could use his speed against Anthony Joshua? Because he knows if he tries to go power for power, he gets knocked out, okay? Very technical match when it actually comes down to it. At the end of the day, it's boxing, right? Jake Paul's a smaller fighter than Anthony Joshua. He's going to have to look for technical ways to beat this guy. Now, we do know another pro is that Jake Paul has been working with absolute great fighters since October, right? Raymond Ford, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Lawrence Okolie, right? He got to all these guys coming, some of the best fighters from every different weight class. I know Lawrence Okolie in the heavyweight division, WBC, has him ranked #1. You know, he's supposed to be taking on Moses Utama now. I personally don't agree with him being ranked #1, but at the end of the day, that's what they got him. So he's in there with high caliber guys, getting black eyes. Some people are calling it broken noses. But you can see the difference from him months ago and even years ago to him hitting the bag right now. It does seem like maybe in the last 2 months he's learned something from Shakur Stevenson and these type of fighters, preparing for Gervonta Tank Davis. Civil suit comes up, that fight gets canceled, and then preparing for Anthony Joshua. At the end of the day, I said he only has a 5% chance of beating Anthony Joshua. You never know, that 5% chance could come. But we all know, if you're being realistic and you're speaking about boxing, you're being realistic, Anthony Joshua should be able to knock him out, do what he did against Francis Ngannou, and get out of there, right? In less than 6 rounds. And if it doesn't, a lot of people are saying it's a rigged fight. I don't necessarily think so. We're going to have to see how the fight plays out itself first before we make those judgments. But seeing Jake Paul hit the heavy bag like this does get me a little excited, man. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm actually rooting for the underdog in this one. Most times, I want to see Jake Paul get knocked out, right? He's knocked out some of our favorite UFC fighters ever. Anderson the Spider Silva, dropped him. Nate Diaz, dropped him. Right? Tyrone Woodley, put him to sleep. Huh? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Mike Tyson. Huh? The list goes on and on. Ben Askren, huh? Robinson. It goes NBA players. It just goes on and on and on. And we all want the time that Jake Paul gets absolutely shut up and gets taught a lesson. But could you imagine if for some reason Anthony Joshua gets knocked out, what this will do? It'll be absolutely insane. It'll be ridiculous. And I know a lot of people are saying that they don't care. They want Jake Paul to get knocked out. They do. At the end of the day, it'll be hype. And I believe Anthony Joshua is going to go in there and get it done easily. He should, for the sport of boxing. But I can't wait, man. I can't wait. My name is Alex Ramos. This is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel, and I'm